Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today, on another episode of THIKRA Podcast, I'm kind of, we've lost track of the number of episodes these days, so I'm just going to say another from now on. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, we are very pleased and honored to have a very special guest who has kind of pushed things around in his schedule to be with us today, and we ask Allah to reward him for that. Sheikh Muhammad Andalusi.
Sheikh, I'm still young, akhi. Don't call me Sheikh.
Everyone's
Still 32, man. I got no white beard, no white hairs.
Subhanallah, you're 32, I'm 27, and my whites are already.
MashaAllah.
Sheikh,
Still
maybe, inshallah.
Young Sheikhs, huh?
Bismillah ta'ala. Sheikh, the first thing I wanted to ask you is obviously who you are. I'm sure obviously a lot of our listeners, a lot of our viewers will already know who you are. They will have clicked on this video because they see your face, Allahumma barik, in the thumbnail and not mine, obviously. But I'd be remiss to, if I didn't ask you a little bit about yourself. So, who is Muhammad al-Andalusi?
Muhammad al-Andalusi is, first of all, نبدأ بسم ونحمده. أما بعد, I am Muhammad al-Andalusi, son of Muhammad, son of Moor, son of Masamba. We come from a Senegalese tribe, the Fulanis, and that's what I would like to link myself to, because I grew up in Spain, Barcelona, and to be honest with you, even though I speak the language, I have the culture and everything, I've never really felt from there. So I grew up in Barcelona, Spain. At 14, went to Paris, stayed there for 2 years. Learned French as my third language. Then at 18, I went to Egypt and stayed there for about 5 to 6 years. Learned there my fourth language, Arabic. And as I was there, I was practicing and working on my English as well. So 10 years ago, I didn't know English. So it's an honor to be talking to brothers right now from across the English-speaking globe now. And yeah, pretty much, I was just grew up in Barcelona, Spain. I had not a rough childhood, but I was just far away from the deen, far away from Islam. At around 18, 17, I started to, think about Islam because of the fact that I was in France. And in France, they used to ask me a lot where I was from and if I was Muslim, and so in comparison to Spain, the youth in France, they were very connected to their roots. So they always used to ask me if I was Muslim, and even though I grew up in a Muslim family, they put me on the spot because I was like, yeah, I'm Muslim, I guess so. Yeah, I do eat halal. Yeah, and then they would ask me, do you pray? Do you go Jummah? Do you? So all of that made me ask myself a lot about what I was doing here, and my life, and al-akhirah, and so on. So I started to ask myself. I started to learn here and there some information, and subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jal just guided me to wanting to learn the Arabic language. Initially, it was just the Arabic language. I don't know if it was because I already learned 4 languages. I was maybe a little bit hyped up that I learned French, and I perhaps started to feel the benefits of knowing another language, and I started to see in people how amazed they were by languages. So I was very concerned about learning Arabic initially, especially because the fact that reading the Quran in Spanish, it wasn't really clear to me, and even though my Spanish is my first language, there were a lot of words that sounded very foreign to me. So having learned French and started to realize the phenomenon of what they call untranslatability, which is when you realize that certain words cannot be translated in other languages or your original language in this case. So you find yourself stuck. You're trying to express certain things, certain ideas, sometimes can be as silly as jokes. Sometimes it can be as as just talking about yourself, and you realize, oh, I don't know how to say that in my original language. So when I started to be interested about Islam, and I started to read the Quran in Spanish, I realized that I had that same feeling. Like it feels like Allah wouldn't talk like this kind of thing. So initially it was the intention of learning Arabic. I really wanted to learn Arabic, and qaddar Allah wa shafa'al, Allah guided me to a brother, Spanish brother that I met in a masjid in France, and he told me about a intensive program in Egypt. So I decided to go, and from there it was just a new world to me. You know, I met a bunch of brothers. I met brothers who studied in Yemen, brothers who studied in Medina, brothers who studied obviously in Egypt. It was nationalities from everywhere. And so my journey, really my life journey really started in Egypt. Not because of Egypt itself, but because of the people and the connections and the type of brothers that I met there, and all the different type of stories that I came across there, and different brothers that had different backgrounds, and so you know, I was in Egypt. I learned Arabic. I started to be in love with seeking knowledge. I wanted to really turn my life and just make my life a life of knowledge and seeking knowledge. And then life hit me in the face. Had a baby, and I started to realize that I needed to realize how to make money. So I started to try a bunch of different things as well while I was in Egypt. And so my life started to be balancing between hustling, trying to make money, and learn Arabic. And so this is why I think those two things made the identity that I am today, which is just, you know, I would say, I was gonna say entrepreneur, but it's really just a man, just because every man needs to make money. And the fact that I want to seek knowledge, and the fact that I want to make my lifestyle about this, it makes me be more inclined towards entrepreneurship. Because with entrepreneurship, you can have location freedom, and it's more scalable. You're not that stuck as if you had a particular, office job or whatever it might be. And so that's what I would identify myself as, just young Muslim that's trying to take care of his family, and just has had some success in entrepreneurship, and has stuck bifadlillah to this type of lifestyle of the student of knowledge, or wanna be trying to be student of knowledge. So yeah, that's me, man. Muhammad Andalusi.
So just for the people who are keeping score, you said 5 languages altogether.
Altogether, yeah, 5 languages.
So that's Spanish.
Yeah, first one is Catalan. It's my mom's tongue.
Right. So Catalan. So those are the area of Barcelona and all that.
Yeah.
They're the ones who want their independence right now.
Yeah.
Catalans. Yeah. And then there's Spanish, Arabic, English, and French.
Yes.
Those are all the languages. Do you ever get mistaken for a Moroccan?
Yeah, many times.
Many times.
Especially when So I have a problem. My problem is the opposite of a problem that many Arabs have nowadays, which is they don't know how to speak Fusha. My problem is I don't know how to speak dialect. So when I meet an Arab person and I try to break my Fusha, it makes me, I try to incline towards the Lahja al-Bayda, as they call it, where you try to not sound too rasmi, too official, too
like you're giving a
professional. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then people tend to say, are you Moroccan? But then when I speak Fusha, they never say, are you Moroccan? Just when I try to break down my Fusha.
And that surname, Al-Andalusi, that's your actual family name?
No, Al-Andalusi was my teacher, Ustadh Muhammad, may Allah preserve him. He is just very simple. I was in class, he said, what's your name? He said, Muhammad. He said, Muhammad from where? I said, from Spain. He said, okay, Anta Muhammad Al-Andalusi. And he just stuck with me. Everybody started calling me in the neighborhood we used to live in by Al-Andalusi because I came from Spain and I just ran with it.
So that just became the name from then on.
Yeah.
So in terms of your studies and the experience and all that, obviously Spanish-speaking background, and then you learning Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you were speaking Spanish, did that make it easier?
To be honest, I would say that it did, and I would like to believe that it did.
Some of the
Everything is from the
similarities.
tawfiq of Allah, man. But I do believe that certain languages, from a linguistical aspect, certain languages, and because of the phonetics of that language, it makes it easier for you to learn Arabic. Like, for example, English is one of the languages that, from what I see, I mean, we have had 4,000 plus students sign up to our Arabic Institute, and I have seen that those who tend to be from the US and the UK, for some reason, little less. But any other country, Italy, Spain, all of these guys, they catch it very quickly, and they catch the accent as well very fast. So I would like to believe that Spanish made it easier, and the fact that we have the kha and we have the dad is not too far from de. So I think it made it easier that Spanish was my first language.
Is there any truth to, like, for example, that AL, definitive article Arabic, EL, does that factor in? Because a lot of Spanish words, they say, have a lot of as the language Spanish, as well as Arabic words in there, or a few rules here and there from the Arabic language.
Yeah, no doubt. Spanish was heavily influenced by the Arabic language. From as you said, al. Every city in Spain right now that starts with al is an actual Arabic name, like Albacete, Albasit, Almeria, Almeria, Almohada, Almakhadda, like a cushion, a pillow, and so no doubt there is a lot of acera, like the sidewalk. We call it a acera from asira. So there's no doubt that there's more than I know, for sure, and I probably say things every day in Spanish that I don't even realize it comes from Arabic. From the most obvious things, like a very common expression that even Spanish people use on a daily basis, ojalá. They say, oh, ojalá. In Arabic, laytani. But it really comes from inshallah. And so many expressions that they might insult you as a Muslim, and they use in an expression, ojalá te vayas a tu país. Inshallah, you go to your country, something like that. So there's definitely a lot of expressions in the Spanish language that come from the Arabic language. Cities, monuments, expressions again. So yeah, it makes it easier for a Spanish speaker.
And the Arabic language and this journey that you've gone on, and even the reason that you're here doing this tour, for example, here in Australia, for example, what do you think is the main factor or the main drive that's pushed you into this direction where you developed this love for the Arabic language and you've become very good at it? And to be honest, obviously, and I'm sure you're aware, there's a lot of people from, let's say, backgrounds that aren't that they're not from an Arab background or an Arabic background. They fall in love with the Arabic language. Some of them study the deen, and they've become personalities on social media. There's quite a few of them, and ones from the country that you least expect from is the one who's the more he is as an expert in Arabic, or he's very much in tune with the Arabic language. So obviously your journey is a bit different because you went down the seeking knowledge path. So tell us a bit about, first of all, what made you fall in love with the Arabic language, and then at some point made you fall in love with just studying the deen in general.
Mm-hmm. So when I was in Egypt, I was struggling to make money. Basically, my parents were taking care of me the first 2 to 3 years, and at one point I started to put myself into just searching for a way on how to earn, but at the same time I didn't want to go back to Spain. So I remember entering a brother's house, and he had a very nice setup. He was a graphic designer, and he told me he's been in Egypt for 6 years. He never went back, and he works from home. So that stuck with me, and it stayed in the back of my head. Like, okay, working from home, how could I make this happen? I don't know graphic design. I know how to edit videos a little bit, and I started thinking of all my different skills that I had online. And obviously, after trying a bunch of things like student accommodation for new students coming to Egypt, and trying to learn how to sew as well, and I was trying to build a brand to sell Islamic clothing online, and I tried to buy stuff from the market in Egypt and go to London, and I tried a bunch of stuff like this, but nothing was stable. So in 2016, actually, I realized that I had a skill, and actually other brothers were doing this, that I could monetize, and it was the Arabic language. So I started in 2016 again, teaching a few brothers online. But to be honest with you, I didn't think that was going to pay my bills and I could, live of it. So after that, I went back to London, and I was delivering food, and at the same time, I was consuming a lot of podcasts, a lot of content on social media about online businesses and online, how to make money online and things like that. So later on, I came with the idea that I would, I came to realize how to actually structure the teaching of the Arabic language to make it something real online. And that's when I built Andalusi Institute, and alhamdulillah, since 2019, it's been successful. But to go back to my love for the Arabic language, it was that when I started practicing, and I had that feeling of like reading the the Quran in Spanish, I generally didn't feel that it was doing anything to my iman, that it was doing anything to my knowledge. It was almost like a ongoing research. Like I had to read an ayah and then try to understand in a word in Spanish that I don't even use on a day-to-day basis. So when I learned Arabic, and I was able to understand the scholars directly, and I was able to, read from the tafsir. I remember waking up. I remember sleeping on the floor while my wife sleeps on a mattress, so I can wake up before Fajr, so I can read the tafsir and then memorize. And I remember, for some reason, Surah Al-Najm is the last surah that I memorized, before I started memorizing again, by reading the tafsir. And it just made me realize that memorizing with understanding, it was a whole different type of it's like a whole dimension. Like I don't even know how to put it into words sometimes. It's a different feeling. It's like literally once you have the Arabic language, is a key that opens doors to a new world of understanding and knowledge, and that converts into feelings and spiritual increase and iman increase. And my whole thing was that when I was in Egypt, and then I went back to London, and I was delivering food, that was the first time that I left Egypt for that long. And I had a iman crash. Like the same way how when you wake up and you're tired, you drink coffee, and in the middle of the day you crash and you feel tired all of a sudden. My thing was my iman just crashed. And so I was in London, and I remember I got to a point where I was so focused on that content that I was talking about, to learn business and so on, so I can take care of myself and my family and go back to study, that I wasn't consuming and I wasn't feeding my nafs and my heart and my soul anymore with what actually increases me in iman. So I had a crash. Like I said, I had a crash in iman that I never realized I would be mutsahil and easy going on certain things that I was very strict with on myself. And to be honest, that's when I realized, like, if I didn't know Arabic and I didn't had the little knowledge from the little books that I did with this Sheikh, Usul al-Thalatha, Qawaid al-Arba'a, and Ma'arij al-Qabul, and all of these different classes that I took with that Sheikh that we learned from, if it wasn't that little knowledge and the understanding of it, I don't think I would have gotten out that situation of like that Iman crash. And so for me, I started to realize how, like I generally told myself, I studied a little bit and I am this bad. I can't imagine somebody who didn't study and is not able to access the books directly. Is not able to, those afternoons when you like, oh man, I really need like a dars or something right now. Let me search up, Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah. Let me search up, Sheikh Ibn Baz and listen to it while I'm delivering food. If it wasn't because of those things and being able to understand it and being able to reset my iman a little bit, I don't think I would have continued to practice, or at least I would have been, Wallahu alam. But it was my realization that this is a tool to keep my religion, and hence why Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he says فيما يقارب كلامه أن اعتياد اللغة العربية يؤثر تأثيرا قويا بينا في العقل والخلق والدين. He says that taking the Arabic language and taking it as a habit in your life, and actually applying it and taking it as the language that you speak on a day-to-day basis, has an immense effect on, he says, قويا بينا, a very strong and clear effect on your khuluq, your manners, and your deen, i.e. the practice of your deen, the level of practice, and your aql and your intellect. And so that's what made me realize Arabic is really what the West needs. We need some dawah other than قال الله وقال الرسول قال الله وقال الرسول. لكن you have to learn the Arabic language in order for you to not leave off and always need these English speakers, which are doing their best in interpreting the books, in the aqwal they read, and they just generally transferring to you what they read. And so you're always at the mercy of somebody's effort. And you will see me every time I try to translate something into English, I need to stop for a second. I need to try and find the best word. And then even though I use a word, I'm like, that might not be the best word, but they will get it. They hopefully get the the gist of what I'm trying to say. And so for me, it was a first-hand realization, a first-hand experience of what the Arabic language did to me. And so I wanted to basically use it as a tool to not only pass it onto the people, but I wanted to give all my life to it. So I said, you know what, I'm going to mix everything. I'm going to do an institute, and I'm going to charge for it, and people can learn Arabic in it, and at the same time I will put all my efforts in this, so I don't have to be distracted with finding a job or working at a supermarket or whatever it might be, and this will be my life, teaching people and making the best program that has ever been to learn the Arabic language online. And so that's the reason why I fell in love with the Arabic language, and I'm that big on the Arabic language.
So especially people who grow up in the West, you obviously having grown up in a Western country, and us the same way. Obviously, Muslims who live in the West, their Arabic or their grasp of the Arabic language is very weak. And obviously, you've spoken to the idea that the Arabic language is what ultimately helps you to maintain and preserve your deen. Like, it did that for you. Do you believe that is something that will benefit and will be something of benefit to everyone? Everyone who does it, they'll see the same benefit? Or do you believe that there is there is still some, for example, those who want to, let's say, pursue studying the deen, for example, and they do their best now, so they study it, for example, in English, and then later on they'll apply themselves, or at the same time they're applying themselves to the Arabic language so that they can learn it in Arabic ultimately. Do you think there's also some truth to, for example, that path?
I mean, there's no doubt that إنما الأعمال بالنيات, as we all know from all the books of a hadith. The first hadith that we always see is that the actions are based on the intention. And اللغة العربية الصحابة رضوان الله عليهم, and they are, the best of people, as the Prophet Muhammad said, خير الناس قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم. The best of people are my people in my decade, then those who followed, i.e. next decade, and then those who followed. Allah Azza wa Jalla says, السابقون الأولون من المهاجرين والأنصار والذين اتبعوهم بإحسان رضي الله عنهم ورضوا عنه. That those who were the first ones and the ones that migrated to Al-Medina in this case, they are the ones that Allah Azza wa Jal was pleased with them, and they were pleased with Allah Azza wa Jal. So Al-Aqil, and that person that follows his intellect and his reason, he will want to do the same thing that the Sahaba did. And so the Sahaba, which is something that nowadays a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of people don't talk about it, and a lot of people don't yushiruna ilayhi, and they don't put much attention for the people to realize, is like, for example, Umar ibn al-Khattab in the time of his Khilafah, he wrote to Abi Musa al-Ash'ari, who he set as a wali in al-Basra, and he wrote a letter to him, and he said along the lines of إني كنت أموركم بما أمركم الله وأنهاكم بما نهاكم الرسول Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he said تعلموا اللحن وتفهموا في العربية. نعم، أو كما قال رضي الله عنه, that when he wrote to Abi Musa al-Ash'ari, and I like to put it, and I like to imagine it as like, imagine nowadays, a king or a president from our Muslim countries, he writes to another president, and from amongst the first things that he says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, I remind you that you need to follow the Quran, I remind you that you need to follow the Sunnah, and I remind you that you need to learn and push the people to learn the Arabic language. And so the Sahaba, they had a very intense, given importance to the Arabic language and preserving the Arabic language, because they understood that it was the language of the Quran. And the further away people was from the language, the further away they would be from the Quran. The further away they are from the Quran, the further away they are from the deen. The further away they are from the deen, the closer they are to sins and to fawahish and crime, and societies don't stand a life like this. So Sahaba ridwanullahi alayhim, from in the ahd of the Sahaba, they did something great as well, which was with the intention of preserving the Quran. When they started to put the Quran into suhuf, into an actual mushaf, into an actual book, because at that time it was just amongst tables and woods and pieces of papers amongst different Sahaba. So in the time of Umar as well, he recommended, after he seen that there were so many Sahaba that had memorized the Quran, they were being killed in battles and so on. So the Sahaba, you can see historically that they put a big importance in preserving the Quran by preserving the Arabic language. And as soon as they started to see as well that the Muslims started to mix a lot with al-ajim and people that were not Arab, like the story of when a man came to in the time of Umar as a Khalifa, he came and he said, Man yuqri'uni bima unzila ala Muhammad, who can read something to me from what was descended to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so somebody, an Arabi actually, who was mixed in this case, he's Arabi, but he mixed with al-Ajim in this case, with foreign people. So he read to him and he said, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولِهِ. And so obviously he's Arabi, who came and wanted to listen to the Quran. He says, SubhanAllah, how is Allah bari? Which in English it would be that Allah is bari, is, you know, he's free from the وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ من المشركين, from the mushrikeen, from the polytheists, and Rasuli, and his prophet. Now, however, if you say Rasuluhu, it means something. If you say Rasulihi, it means something else. Now, the Arabi, he read Rasulihi. So he basically said that Allah is free from the polytheists and his prophet. So the Arabi, his language, he said, oh, SubhanAllah, I'm bari from the prophet and the polytheists as well. So then Umar, he heard about it and he said, what is you know, why are you free from his prophet and the mushrikeen and the polytheists? And so he said that somebody read to him, وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولِهِ. He said, no, it's not like that. وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولُهُ. So based on this, then Umar, he commended Abu Musa al-Duwali, or Abu al-Aswad, sorry, al-Duwali, to put together the first sort of Nahu book, the first sort of grammar book. And so you can see historically that the Sahaba, they connected the Quran, which is obviously, you know, our guidance, our dustur, our everything that we need to
what this deen is based upon.
What this deen is based upon. And so they connected it to the Arabic language, and hence why the Sahaba, they had such a big emphasis on the Arabic language. Now, as you said, going back to your question, if somebody has the intention of learning the Arabic language to connect directly to this foundation, to the Quran, then after the tawfiq of Allah Azza wa Jal, then of course is going to, bi'ithnillah, is going to benefit him in a way that generally words cannot be put in how it's going to benefit him from a spiritual perspective, from, again, as Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, from a mannerisms perspective. As Umar ibn Khattab said in another qawl as well, that من تعلم لغة ومن تعلمها يعني لغة الأعاجم خبّ, as in whoever learns the language of the Ajim other than the Arabic language, he will become corrupted. And he continued his qawl by saying ولا تلبسوا لباسهم, and don't wear their clothes, those who are not Arab. And you know, he continued his qawl. The point is, they used to see somebody who doesn't speak as Arabic to be corrupted, because the Arabic language is the liturgical language of al-Islam, and is highly connected to al-Islam, to the practice. And again, as Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, the mannerisms, the khuluq, your aqal, and your practice, your level of practice just becomes different. And you can sometimes, I can't even see somebody. I can look at a brother in the West, how he talks, how he wears, you know, the expressions he uses, and I know the level of Arabic he has, and the level of his learning, and how many years how he's been learning, and he shows in even the way he dresses and the way he talks. So there's no doubt that if somebody learns the Arabic language for that intention, and is according to you know, for the ibadah to be maqbula, as the ulama have mentioned, that it needs to be based on the you know, the sunnah, according to the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and be ikhlas. Then if he takes it as an ibadah and he asks Allah Azza wa Jal for guidance in it, I only see but khair in his life. And as Al-Imam al-Tha'alibi, he said that whoever fi ma'na kalamihi, whoever learns about al-Islam and he reads and is exposed to a sunnah, he uses فقط حاز, he has accomplished, everything he needs. The Quran, you have been given the Quran, and you have been exposed and has been read upon you the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have indeed completed and accomplished everything you needed to accomplish as a Muslim. So Arabic, I see it as that martaba, is the tool, and is the
Key.
the teeth of the key. What opens the door? Because the key is what is the knowledge. The Quran, the Sunnah, we give it to you. But then how are you going to open the door? Quran, the Sunnah is the door. How are you going to open the door? Somebody can put right here, al-Mushaf, this is Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim. Yalla, tfaddal. So, okay, how do I read it, Sheikh? I got to learn the Arabic language. Go and take 1 year off, 2 years off, come back and then read it.
It's the prerequisite. So, your learning of the Arabic language is tied to your passion and your pursuit of learning the deen. And from what I can tell, obviously you learnt off of Mufti Munir.
No doubt, no.
Yeah, you're wearing his jacket, that jacket, the Hadith
Yeah,
Disciples.
there's the typical Hadith disciple.
Hadith Disciples jacket. Because when I was looking at it, I thought, it looks like some sort of kung fu. You know the old kung fu jackets.
Yeah.
They have those.
They call it tang jacket.
The tang jacket.
It's a tang jacket.
Yeah, that's the style. So you learnt, you were part of that
That
is
gang.
that part of your learning, part of that gang, and you learnt.
Yeah, no
off of-
doubt. I mean, for me, subhanAllah, while I was in those same years, as I said earlier, 2016, that same maktaba that I used to teach Arabic from, I used to go on YouTube, and I remember seeing Sheikh Mufti Munir translating for a sheikh. And at that time, he already looks young right now, mashallah. وقد تقرب من الشيب. May Allah preserve him and give him long years of ibadah. But I used to, back then, it was 2016 again, was 10 years ago, and he used to seem super young. And he was translating, يعني mashallah, يعني sharp, translating back and forth. قال الشيخ this, that, the sheikh said, ta, 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 ta. And that was an inspiration, which I told him last time we did Umrah together a few months ago, the beginning of this year actually. And I told him, and I don't even think he stadrak, and he realized the amount of influence that he had on me back then. But I've always liked his style. I've always liked his everything, his vibe, and I've had the honor and I've had the chance to be close to him and do tours with him, da'wah tours with him, and so on. So I've been highly influenced by Sheikh Mufti Munir, and to be honest, to say as well, and to give him his credit, he's the first one who, as we like to say, he put me on. He's the first one that believed in me when Andalusi Institute wasn't Andalusi Institute yet, and I was a nobody, and Muhammad Andalusi didn't even, they didn't have that many followers and whatever it was, and he gave me a chance. He interviewed me on his channel, and from there, people started to see Andalusi Institute as an Arabic institute, and he started to help me out and promote Arabic Andalusi Institute on his channel and so on. So I have a lot of credit to give back to Sheikh Mufti that I'll probably never be able to give its worth of what he has, given me.
So he's because a lot of people, he's one of those figures that even though he's a public figure, he's at the same time he's able to very much keep to himself. But I've met many who've been directly or indirectly influenced by him and obviously his work, and he was someone who was highly touted coming out of the gates, if I can use that expression. Out of the gates, he was very highly touted, spoken very highly about by his teachers and his peers, and that effect that he has, where he's able to touch so many in terms of his in terms of his works, do you feel that this is something that is sort of maybe missing, this sort of aspect of him being a public figure? And he has an effect, obviously, as a public figure on many, but he's had almost equal, if not more, a profound effect on people without even people knowing it, like a lot of the work that he does behind the scenes. And you feel like that this is something that's maybe missing from public figures who are involved in the deen and, you know, the dawah bros and the dawah mafia and these sorts of big figures that you see online, especially that people take very seriously in the West?
Now, to be honest with you, I'll tell you something. I'll keep it real with you. Mufti, you can't even put him in the same bracket as most people. I personally don't. I haven't, and perhaps I haven't been that close to anybody else, but I haven't seen this level of knowledge in the English speaking world. And the thing with him is, the average Joe, unless they get touched by his you know, they identify with him because where he comes from, unless it's that, the other type of people that will identify with him is people who have tasted the taste of knowledge. And this is why he might not be as big as other speakers, is because he doesn't have time, first of all, to be online, you know, إذا صح التعبير, dancing for views and followers and so on. He is the raw classical قال الله قال الرسول and fiqhi type of approach, very mu'tadil, very mutawazin, munsif. And so only real ones can really see the actual gems that Mufti has. And to be honest, for long years, and I hope that one day we will be able to get there, because we have a bunch of brothers behind him that we try to help him out, but everybody gets busy with their own stuff and so on, and it never. But really, Mufti, what he really needs is just, it's just more clout, and I don't even know if he wants it, to be honest. But
not his style.
Yeah, it's not his style. It's very hard for the average person to identify with him, because he's the type of person he can only speak about very advanced type of studies, and so the people that get affected by him is generally طلاب علم, those who already tasted the taste of knowledge,
the fruits of knowledge. And so that sort of approach that he's had, where he's able to touch so many, did you feel, or did you ever think that, you know what, when I am finally successful with, or the direction that I want to take this Andalusi Institute, this Institute of Arabic, is like a similar direction where it's just, you know, no games, no controversies, no problems, just sticking to the main reason that the institute was created, which is to teach people Arabic for the sake of understanding their religion, for the sake of understanding.
Yeah, well, me, I do believe that I am a little bit, I am a little bit controversial myself. I don't care about what most speakers care about. I will go against the world. I will stay by myself. I'm a lone wolf, aslan. So there's a lot of speakers, they are very scared of saying these because they're not going to invite me here. I don't care about people. And so when it comes to the Arabic Institute, if he has to come to, if we have to get to it, I will get to it. But I think that, you know, bullies never go to people that fight back. That's the thing. And so when it comes to all these type of fitan and stuff, I generally think that people who are about that, they see me and they're like, he won't care anyways, because they generally want to bully people most of the time. So when it comes to the Arabic language, Andalusi, I'm on my lane. I teach the Arabic language. You know, we try to benefit the people, and generally our goal is really like teach the Arabic language to like kind of like be a bridge for new students of knowledge. Like learn the Arabic language and then go to Medina, then go to Egypt, then start seeking knowledge. And obviously, sometimes from time to time, we have to bump heads with certain people and whatnot. But just keep it moving, to be honest. And it's been a few times where I could have just stopped if because of these type of problems. But I just generally don't care about what people thinks, and I am very comfortable. I know my place. I don't try to be this big shot. I know where I'm at, and I accept criticism, and I that's what it takes. A lot of people that get stopped is because they try to portray an image, and then they get put down, and then they get into controversies, and then they not made for it, so they stop their thing, and they become, and then they get off track. But I think that's what helped us stay on track for 6 years now, strong, standing the test of time and benefiting people, is because we generally focus on the mission. Like just a few months ago, a few weeks ago, there was a few YouTube channels, a few Arabic YouTube channels. They started throwing shots at me just because I commented on the video. And then once we started seeing that they took it, like they started going crazy about it, I tell to everyone, yo, just stop going back and forth with them. Let's just keep going.
What were they arguing about? A grammatical issue, or
they were just mostly they saying that that we don't teach, that I don't. Well, obviously, Andalusi Institute is pretty much promoted through my personal brand, so they say that I wasn't teaching Arabic, but that I was just emotionally calling people to learn the Arabic language. So we said, okay, cool. You know what? Don't tell anybody. Next couple of weeks, we dropped the whole Arabiya Binaya they taught from cover to cover. The whole Al-Ajrumiya.
Oh, I saw that.
Taught from cover to cover. So we just shut people's mouth and keep it moving.
Your whole YouTube channel, just all the videos just came out.
Yeah. Now what are they gonna say?
I don't know. So because I looked at obviously I'm sure you're aware of the story of how Sibawi rahmatullahi alayhi, how he died, and his beef with Al-Kisai. Is it Al-Kisai? He had a beef with Al-Kisai.
ذكرني والله.
So the story goes that so obviously Sibawi is a great Arabic scholar, and he's well known. I didn't have to mention him, and he was having an argument with another great Arabic scholar of the day, which was Al-Kisai, and then the argument goes that they had a dispute over some sort of way beyond me about like technical grammatical issue, if this is the way that it's said, or if it's this way. It's something very advanced, and they had this argument, and Sibawi was so sure that he was right, and they kept going back and forth, and Kisai thought he was right. So what happened is they said, okay, you know what, we'll settle this. We'll go to a Bedouin, because at that time, purest Arabic you can find was with the Bedouin. We'll go to the Bedouin, and we'll have the Bedouin judge between us about who's right and who's wrong. I'm not completely sure what the rule was, but they presented both their cases, and the Bedouin sided with Al-Kisai. And he was so, Sibawi was so shocked and so disappointed. He couldn't believe that he was wrong about it, because he was so sure. And he basically just kept going back and forth in his mind until eventually the stress and the mental breakdown of it eventually killed him. SubhanAllah. And then they found out later, Al-Kisai, they say, so the narration said, Al-Kisai said, the Bedouin came to someone and said, Al-Kisai told me to say that. when the argument's happening, he told me it beforehand, say this. just so that he would think he was wrong. SubhanAllah. So it looks like those sorts of beefs between the teachers of Arabic, it still maybe continues.
Yeah.
To this day.
And you know what's crazy is that these two great scholars, both of them, they were not Arab.
SubhanAllah.
And they're the ones that put the most effort into preserving the Arabic language, like Sibawi being, like the first one to actually systemize grammar and morphology. So and Kisai being a big, but having an actual, way of recitation called according to Imam Kisai, the recitation according to Imam Kisai. So so that it always, that's always a reminder to me, like, because a lot of people actually never start learning Arabic and don't believe that they can learn Arabic to those levels because for some reason they are not Arab, or they grew up with English, or it's too late for them, or whatever it might be. So subhanallah, man, that's
What do you say to those people? Those people who believe it's too late or believe it's too hard, or every time they get a start, because I see that a lot of people get a start into learning Arabic, they really get into it, and then at some point they just kind of fall off.
I mean, it's a very good example. Imam Sibawayh, he lived from the reports 32 years. 32 years, and we two random dudes in Australia, in the other side of the world, which, by the way, you guys, I don't know where you guys brought me.
We're far from everything. Yeah.
Somewhere far in the world, are still mentioning him. He is the first one to systemize grammar, morphology. He is mentioned as the father of grammar, and he made a book called The Book.
Yes.
He didn't, it's like the book. I don't know what to call it, man. This is the book. And so he lived for 32 years only. And this is what, it's like if, عادنا الله إن نسأل الله أن يطيل عمرنا على طاعته, but it's like if my life was done, خلاص, all I have accomplished is what he had accomplished. So to say that it's never late, first of all, like we have many imma, like I don't know, Ibn Hazm and from the closest ones like Sheikh Muqbil al-Wadi'i.
They started late.
They started late. They started late, and at the end of the day, the problem is in the foundation, which is the aqidah. It's not you who is going to learn. It's not you who is going to achieve. It's not you who is going to get somewhere. You only are the means. Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to allow you or not allow you. So if you focus on actually making more dua than actually being concerned about how late it is and how much would you have to do and where would I have to go, and if you put that same amount of effort into waking up before Fajr and making dua to Allah Azza wa Jal to teach you the Arabic language, believe me, it's going to be a higher ROI, return on investment, that all of that is stress. So that's what I would say. And again, al-lugha al-arabiyya, and the Arabic language, as we said in the beginning, the Sahaba, they looked at it as part of the deen. Umar ibn Khattab, he said, تعلموا العربية فإنها من دينكم, أو كما قال رضوان الله عليه, that the Arabic language, you have to learn it because it's part of your religion. So they connected it. They didn't look at it as something secondary. They looked at it as something that's directly attached to the religion. And so if that's the case, learning it is an ibadah, is a worship. So you shouldn't look at it as a ghaya, but rather, as Imam al-Tha'alibi said in his muqaddimah of Sirr al-Lugha wa Fiqh al-Lugha wa Sirr al-Arabiyya, he said that whoever loves man habba Allah habba rasulahu, man habba rasulahu habba al-Arab, man habba al-Arab habba al-Arabiyya. And then he said in there, وَثَابَرَ عَلَيْهَا, i.e. وَوَاظَبَ, and he continuously tried to learn it. As in, it's part of your religion. You have to continue to try and learn it. Just like you have to continue to try and understand every day a little bit more of the Quran, memorize a little bit more, is a worship. You have been created for it. It's not a ghaya, it's not a objective that you have to get to, and now it's too late to get to, so might as well not start. It's a marathon, and it's a path that you need to try and die upon, instead of trying to start and finish it before you die.
Right.
And so it's in the foundation of understanding what Arabic actually is. So that's what I would tell them.
Learning the Arabic language is not something that you're rushing or worrying to do before you die, but rather a marathon that you continuously do until you die.
No doubt. And that you want to die upon, and that you wish that Allah Azza wa Jal grants you that, because that will be the best type of life that you can, that you can live.
Obviously, part of excuses and part of the I don't want to say the word drawbacks, but part of the reasons that I can't, that people often come up with, it usually boils down to like a lack of discipline, a lack of time management, a lack of all these things. And obviously part of your channel was also dedicated not just teaching people the Arabic language and to, you know, showing all those other Arabic channels out there, look, I just put the whole series up, you can't do anything. But you also put a part of it into talking about discipline, talking about health, talking about fitness. You mentioned before about intermittent fasting, and like these sorts of things, or that aspect of your channel. Like, what's the best piece of advice you could tell to someone to sort of get themselves in order, make sure that they're ready?
Yeah, well, that's discipline is something that many Muslims have disregarded, or they don't put much attention to it. But Imam Shafi'i himself, he said, "Man ضبط بطنه," and it's a bigger statement and longer statement. He said, "Man ضبط بطنه ضبط دينه." Whoever conquers his stomach, as in what he is, he will have indeed conquered his religion. Just a small example of like from the ulama. But this is something that even Allah Azza wa Jalla has mentioned in the Quran, and He has expressed it as being in control of your nafs, or forbidden your nafs, i.e. being in authority. And Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى فَإِنَّ الْجَنَّةَ هِيَ الْمَأْوَى. So out of all the things He could have said that you're going to get Jannah with, in this particular ayah, He said that whoever fears the day of judgment, or the day he will be standing in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla, and he forbids his nafs, his soul, then Jannah will be his, everlasting place that he will be at. And so Allah Azza wa Jalla, He literally talks about discipline. This is what al-indibat, He said, this is what discipline is to be able to resist impulses. And the way how I like to as well express in English in an easier way what discipline is pretty much being able to choose what you want later over what you are feeling that you want right now. So if you want to learn the Arabic language and you have to, go sleep early to wake up tomorrow morning and revise, that feeling that you have right now of staying awake and watching this, whatever Allah has tested you with, this Netflix series or whatever it might be, you choose what you want later, which is know the Arabic language in a few years, and you go sleep early, being disciplined and forbidding your nafs, grabbing it by the neck, as I like to say, grabbing your nafs by the neck, and go and sleep early so you can wake up early and have energy to actually learn the Arabic language. And so discipline is literally the only required skill to master any other skill. We're not even talking about Arabic only. Quran, you want to write a book, you want to go over I don't know how many pages, you will need discipline. And so discipline, I believe that many people haven't realized that is what they lack in. A lot of people thinking, oh yeah, but I think that I should change. I think that maybe I should travel maybe I should. No, brother, you're just not disciplined. Start there. Take some steps back and look at, what's messed up from your daily routine. Why are you sleeping every day late? Why are you spending 4, 5, 6 hours on your phone? Why are you tired after you eat? Why you have to, feel so sluggish when you wake up? What is it that's causing all of these things? Fix all of these things and you will be more efficient,
more productive. So many more topics that I'd want to go through, but alas, we don't have all the time in the world. One thing I would like to ask you is that obviously you've grown this platform now. You've created this learning institute, encourage people to learn the Arabic language, encourage people to learn the deen, encourage people to become more disciplined. What's the most important piece of advice that you would give to the Muslim youth living in the West? What's the best thing that they can do? What's the thing that you found across the board that if they adhere to this piece of advice, then they'll see a lot of success come their way?
Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, first of all, the best advice that the Quran and the Prophet ﷺ have always given is for you to fear Allah Azza wa Jal. For you to generally fear Allah Azza wa Jal, which is creating a barrier in between you and sins. What is that thing that is going to allow you to every time you want to commit a sin that is going to stop you. And that thing and how you create it is knowledge. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء, that indeed those who really fear Allah Azza wa Jalla out of knowledge are the scholars, al-ulama, from ilm, from having knowledge. And so then the practical advice that I will give is how you achieve that is, first of all, bil musahaba as-salihah, because the Prophet he said, فَلْيَنظُرْ ذكرني بالحديث سبحان الله فلينظر أحدكم من يخالل المرء على دين خليله. نعم بارك الله فيكم. المرء على دين خليله فلينظر أحدكم من يخالل, that the person is upon the religion of his companion. So you need to make sure and look, as in beware who you are next to and who you continuously are with. And these, I say it out of my heart, to be honest, because some people, some youngsters might look at me like, oh, mashallah, he's already like some established sheikh, like iman don't go up and down. No, we still struggling every day, brother. And the way how I always fix myself is like that, is going and see brothers who we can remind ourselves about seeking knowledge, about al-akhirah and so on. That's the second thing. The third practical thing is environment. The ulama, they always talk about the known hadith, which they can go and search about the man who killed 99 people, and he went to seek the most knowledgeable person in the earth, and the person told him, no, you're not going to be forgiven. And then he killed him, completing the 100, and then he went to another knowledgeable person who was amongst the Muslims. He said, yes, you're going to be forgiven, but you have to leave this land because it's a bad land for you. And then don't ever come back, basically. So the ulama, they take this hadith as an ibara and as an example of why you need to leave the place where you feel that it's easier to sin, or where you grew up, or where you just go to a land where there is people who worship Allah Azza wa Jalla and stay with them, which is the advice that the alim in the hadith advise him with. And so that's my three things. First is the generic advice, fear Allah Azza wa Jalla through learning knowledge. But then he's like, okay, but how, brother? He's like, well, be with righteous companionship and do it somewhere where the environment is already mu'athir, it already affects you, which is most of the times a Muslim country, most of the times halaqat of ilm, halaqat of knowledge and gatherings of knowledge.
And obviously that's obviously a piece of advice that obviously will go a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that is there anything what do you feel is the biggest barrier to people achieving that you've spoken about? Because I feel like corrupt environment, fearing Allah in general, and corrupt environment, and just putting yourself around good people in general, I feel like one of the biggest obstacles to that, and that's because it kind of puts the whole world into your hands, is social media and the internet. Do you feel, what's your personal opinion on this? Do you feel that, like some say, just cut off social media and the internet altogether, or do you feel that there is a balance, or do you think it's impossible to do? What's your advice in regards to that?
I mean, my advice is, if you're not making money on social media, my brother, you are worshipping social media, because there's no reason why you should be on it. All of you can tell me, but it's beneficial, I follow Islamic. Bro, just go and read books, akhi. It's gonna, that percentage of benefit you get from social media is not going to overpower the benefit that you will get from actually being away from it. So if you're not making no money on social media, you shouldn't be on it, first of all. Second of all, as I was standing, I don't know who I was walking with, some of you guys, and I was like, yo, the time we live in, because I generally, sometimes I tell myself, if I am aware on a day-to-day basis, every time I pick my phone, from how detrimental this is, what about the average person? Sometimes I'm like, yo, I've spent like half an hour, 1 hour just scrolling or doing this or editing this video or checking whatever I'm checking. And I'm like, what about the average person? And generally sometimes I spend time in having a task that I have to do in front of me, and it takes me maybe half an hour later to start the task just because I was scrolling through whatever it might be. And so I do believe that from amongst the most detrimental things nowadays going on is social media. And if you're not, first of all, aware of it, and second of all, if you don't, design your environment to not be distracted by it, I like to advise people to, if they go on Amazon right now, there's something called kitchen box or something like that, or just look for like phone locker or something like that, and you can set a timer and block your phone. It's going to allow, like, sometimes you don't realize how messed up you are until you are away from the phone for long hours, and you see what you are able to accomplish being away from the phone for you to realize. And so social media, I would say, is amongst the biggest roadblocks that people are having nowadays. That is not allowing them to apply this advice that we just said.
And I think it's probably that's piece of advice plus what to do, and this is the things that you've mentioned. Obviously, are the big do's, and this is the big don't. This is the big obstacle. وجزاك الله خير Sheikh Muhammad. It was a pleasure to have you. بإذن الله تعالى.
Pleasure, wallahi.
جزاك الله خير for listening, dear viewer. This is, I don't know which episode of THIKRA we're on. وجزاك الله خير to our guest. We are very esteemed and very honored to have him. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاك الله خير.
وإياكم.
وذكر فإن الذكرى تنفع المؤمنين.